Suppose the professor's head becomes to a daruma. Suppose the game it starts is deadly. Suppose you'd better not move. Suppose the classroom door is mysteriously locked. But this is not Squid Game. It was 2011 when Kamisama no Iu Torai, or, as Kamisama say want, was released in Japan. Kamisama, in quotes, means gods, Japanese spirits. Manga written by Miyuki Kaneshiro and drawn by Kaiji Fujimura. From this manga in 2014, Takashi Miike's movie. The diegetic content is in many ways similar to that of Squid Game. A group of boys find themselves, willingly or unwillingly, forced to play games. Typical childhood games. Games that, as happens in Squid Game, are deadly. We mention this because we consider it one of two sources, the other we will see, that can help us better understand the three scenes we have already identified. The three key scenes. To properly understand the writing of Squid Game: the round scene, the square scene, the triangular scene, the film we consider now as The God's Will. The English adaptation of the title serves us to better understand one aspect of the square scene. If you had missed the identification, an explanation of the three scenes identified from Squid Game, I put here the link to the previous video, Squid Game, The Ultimate Analysis Part 1, in the tab above, and in the info box below the video. Maybe watch it and then come back here. The aspect we are interested in right now happens at the end of the movie. Here are 5 boys who survive all the games. They believe they have survived all 5, so they all stay alive. There are even fireworks. From the inside of a matryoshka appears a box with icicles, creamsicles inside. Each boy takes one of these icicles. When they are eaten, or when they melt, the creamsicles in the hidden part of the stick reveal the words, "You live, you die." And this is what the matryoshkas, who were in charge of the last game, say to the boys. To have been able to get this far, you needed intelligence, fortitude, imagination. All these skills have allowed you to get this far, but there is one more. There is one more thing, one more skill that you need to have. And that thing, that, in quotes, skill, is luck. The sticks with the words, "You live," are only 2. 3 boys will die killed by the matryoshka of luck. But is it luck? That is it something blind? Something completely random? Or is it something else? As we have seen in the analysis of the square scene, one can remain within the square. That is, within the system, bouncing between death and the economic value of things, of people, at 2 levels of depth. First, maintaining identity, but still being part of the system. Second, letting the system imprint its own identity. To get out of the system, to get out of this square, a crack is needed. Those who carry this crack, like Gi-hun, are invested with a mission determined by the crack itself, as a thinking, transcendent destiny, which, as we have seen, intervenes at the beginning of the story. That is, it intervenes in the first episode of the first season of Squid Game, and in the first episode of the second season. Who are the winners in this movie as The God's Will? They are the 2 most iconic boys who who have two, quote-unquote, compellingly different ways of approaching the system. They are, between them, antagonists, as if to say that stories and systems cannot go on without these two components. But then it is not randomness. It is not blind fate, it is not blind luck. It is something that defends itself and chooses who to bring forward. So much so that Ichika will also be killed. I hope I pronounced that right, before Ichika is confronted with what we now know to be a special game. In this we can see a foreshadowing of the Squid Game special game. The points of contact are many. Ichika had made plans together with Shun. And in this scene where Shun declares himself and thinks about a future together with Ichika, we can see another foreshadowing about episode 6 of the first season of Squid Game Jigambu. Privileged episode to see how the system, the anti-crack, acts. And in fact here we see the same thing. And therefore we can safely say that this fortune is not blind, rather it is the anti-crack, the thinking anti-destiny in action. So let's do one thing. Let's put on an ideal, hypothetical timeline. The thinking destiny, the crack, acting in Squid Game at the beginning of the narrative. And let's put the anti-destiny of as the gods will, acting at the end of the narrative. So we have thus created a kind of narrative space-time. The question at this point is, in between the beginning and the end, what is there? The answer to this question is given to us by the other source. Kaiji, hoping that we have pronounced it correctly. We refer to the animation based on the manga of the same name, again with diegetic content very similar to that of Squid Game, where we find the character of a recruiter. And it is from the dialogue with the recruiter that we can understand exactly what is at the center of this narrative space-time. But that is another story.
Player 456, welcome back to the game.